بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله لله تعالى. All right, so we're going over the translation of QaTr An-Nadaa, yani just the metin. We're just going over the metin and we're translating it and trying not to go far, just to unravel the metin only, inshallah. And here, you suggested we take a look also into this translation. So we have this translation here that has been published by some folks. It says here, the Royal Islamic Strategic Studies Center, translated by Mustafa Munir Al-Qabbani, it says. I don't know who these people are or anything. Inshallah, they're good people. It's coming out of Jordan. They did copyright. Copyright is invalid. So the translator says, in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Yani, we wouldn't translate it this way. The word, its definition, and types. So the title here is not from the words of Ibn Hisham. But it's not unheard of for someone who works on the book of a scholar to add titles without distinguishing that the author didn't put those titles. So they said a word, kalima, is a single utterance that bears meaning. It is one of a noun, verb, or particle. First thing stands out to me is that there's no reliance on Arabic characters here. Yani, for some simple words like kalima and ism and fi'l and harf, that's fine. But for an example, and yani, give an example, write the entire Arabic sentence in English letters, I wouldn't suggest doing that. And at that point, it's just yani. If you're reading a book like this and you can't read the Arabic, then even just read Arabic. I mean, I'm not even saying understand. Just read the Arabic letters. If you can't even do that, then I don't think you should be reading this book. So it says here, identifying nouns. So also, not from the author. As for nouns, they are identified by the definite article al, like, so they said al-rajul. This is the limitations of not using the Arabic. Because in the Arabic, ra is harf shamsi. Harf shamsi. So you're not going to pronounce the lam because the ra is harf shamsi. So you're going to say al-rajul. You're not going to say al-rajul. So it's more appropriate to put the Arabic here. Not to mention that if one wants to be very strict, then it's going to say that this al dash is not the definite article in Arabic, because those aren't even Arabic letters there. Rather, the definite article in Arabic is al, not al dash. So in that regard, I feel like this translation is lacking. It's like beyond training wheels, beyond training wheels. New nation, tanween, that's what people usually say, new nation. Like rajulun. So same thing here. If I wanted to keep the English letters there, then I would for sure put the Arabic first. Actually put the Arabic maybe in brackets so it can easily be inside of the English sentence. That for me makes it easier to be inside the English sentence. Without brackets, just putting the Arabic in there like that feels like it's, for me, or parentheses or the like, it's like interrupting the sentence to me. It's distracting to me. So like rajulun, and then you have your tanween here. And then if I wanted to keep the English, then I'll put it afterwards, for example. I put here rajul and put it after. Because really the Arabic is what's sought here. And I might not keep the English because for something like this, you should at least be able to read the word rajul right there. If you're talking about a book of obligatory knowledge or something, then yeah, you're going to put words in there in English letters for a person who's learning, like wajib and farud and zakat and nisab and like that, and ujub and riyat, like vocabulary words. He's not studying Arabic though. This is a study of Arabic itself. And it's not most basic book at that. So I might not even use the transliteration rajulun there, but maybe I would. So he says the definite article al, like rajul, new nation, tanween, like rajulun. Let me remind you here too. Tanween. So what's happening there? Tanween has the pattern of taf'il. Taf'il. And taf'il, that's a masdar, source noun. Taf'il, that's a pattern for one of the source nouns. That's masdar for the pattern of fa'ala, fa'ala, fa'ala. You say nazzala yunazzilu tanzila, sallama yusallimu taslima, kallama yukallimu taklima. So here's tanween. So what does that mean? That means you'd be saying nawwana, nawwana yunawwinu tanweena. So it literally means giving a noon, giving a noon. So people usually say new nation. I personally like to say nooning, to put a noon on there. Then he says, by speaking about them, وَبِالْحَدِيثِ عَنْهِ, and by speaking about them. Yes. Or telling about them. Let's take a quick look at the Arabic. So he says, Al-kalimatu qawlun mufrad, وهي اسم وفعل وحرف. فالاسم يعرف. So first thing, reason why I wanted to pull this up was because I noticed that he's using the word nouns, S, that's plural. And I said to myself, wait, it's singular in the text, isn't it? So I just wanted to come back and look. فأما الاسم, not al-asma. فأما الأسماء, فأما الاسم. As for the noun, so that's the jins, the type of thing, as if it's a plural, in meaning because it's covering all sorts, all kinds, the broad kind, but it's singular noun. فيعرف it, as for the noun, it is identified by al كالرجل, like الرجل, وبالتنوين, and by the nooning, كرجل, وبالحديث عنه, and by talking about it, or by speaking about it, or telling about it, informing about it. This means by giving it a predicate. وبالحديث عنه means giving this word a predicate. That means if you're able to give it a predicate, then that means it's a noun in the first place. كتاء ضربت, like the ta of ضربت, because you're telling about it. I hit, I struck ضربت, so it's informing about his action. The telling here, the actual telling itself, is about the act of striking. And the one that's being told about is the single speaker. The single speaker. Single speaker means I. The one being told about is the single speaker. And the telling is his striking in the past. His having struck in the past. Darabtu. I hit, I struck. So let's see their translation there. So it says, as for nouns, so they put an S on there. So I wouldn't. I don't think it's most representative of what the author's saying. So then, as for the noun, it is identified by el, so the definite article. El, like al-rajul, and new nation, like rajulun. And by speaking about them or about it, set for there, i.e., when they are subjects of sentences. Yes. Like the ta of darabtu. So all of that I feel needs, the whole book here. I don't have to keep saying now. The lack of Arabic written in there is a minus for me. Is a spot of criticism, I say. If I were to give a grade on the effort alone, just the effort alone, I don't see I could give more than a B plus just for the effort alone. Because not putting the Arabic is what made it not get into at least an A minus for me. Nouns are of two types. Let's see if I can put these side by side. Well, hopefully it won't be blurry. Let's see. So then he says, وَهُوَ ضَرْبَانِ وَهُوَ, so singular. And then he said, nouns are, and what they do here, put the actual word, not the pronoun. Now, if it were me, I would say, and it is of two types. To match what the author is doing, unless I feel like it's not strong enough. The pronoun in English is not strong enough. Seems like pronoun in English is weaker. Can't do as much as the Arabic one can. So in English, you need to, it seems, bring the actual word back more frequently for clarity. So that's why, okay, it could bring this word noun here for clarity. I know that the English, you're going to sometimes not translate the pronoun for clarity. I think it's fine here. It would have worked there because it didn't get far. And it's under the title. It even has a subtitle there. So it could put the pronoun like the author did, and it is of two types. And then rely on the reader's intelligence after that. معرب وهو ما يتغير آخره بسبب العوامل الداخلة عليه. Inflected معرب, nouns. So it doesn't need this word noun here at this point, Inflected, but okay, maybe it's there to help the sentence flow. Inflected nouns are. But since he committed to plural, then he's going to have to do like that. He's going to diverge from the author in that regard consistently here. And pluralize what the author made singular. And he said, inflected nouns are those whose endings change due to syntactical operators. Nice. I like that. Syntactical operators acting upon them. Like the proper name Zaid. So, معرب وهو ما يتغير آخره. Those whose endings change. So even here, akhiruhu, that's singular. Endings is plural. So he's going to consistently be different here. بسبب العوامل الداخلة عليه. Due to the change of syntactical operators acting upon them. كزيد, like the proper name Zaid. ومبني, and uninflected. Okay. I've been saying built, cemented, because I'm trying to be literal. I'm trying to bring out the significance of the Arabic word when I do like that. I don't want to just use English grammatical terms, because those words, a lot of times, they don't reflect the significance of the Arabic word. So that's what I want to bring out. So mabni is from bina. The mabni is something built, firmly structured. That's what it means linguistically. So they called it that because the ending is not changing, as if it's bricked, cemented.
Yeah, I think that the English grammatical terms are not sometimes, a lot of times, robust enough to reflect
Yes.
meanings in the Arabic grammar.
Yeah, that's right. MashaAllah. So uninflected mabni nouns are the opposites. وَهُوَ بِخِلَافِهِ. A footnote here, meaning their endings are always fixed. Yes. The scholars, they do have some talk here though. بِخِلَافِهِ. Really, khilaf means different, doesn't mean opposite. There's a fine difference between different and opposite. Bikhilafihi means contrary to it. Contrary, I think, means more like opposite. But different doesn't mean necessarily opposite. So khilafihi means different, which is different from it. And they did talk about that. Is bina the opposite of i'rab or is different from i'rab? I have some notes about that. I have to review it though. Yani, something translated. كهؤلاء في لزوم الكسر, like هؤلاء. So it says here, like هؤلاء. So, and this has no significance here in English. Even there's an inconsistency here. The inconsistency is that sometimes he puts in brackets what we're dealing with. Like he says, the definite article, al. And sometimes he doesn't, like tanween. So there's no comment here what tanween is. Nunation, what is that? For number one here, had he just put al, we wouldn't even have known. What is he talking about? I mean, if you don't know. So to help you so that you know what he's talking about, the translator put it there, the definite article. But then number two, you don't know what that is either. He didn't put anything to help you there. And then number three, by speaking about them, okay, that's clear enough if you know what he's saying. Then inflected mu'rab nouns are those whose endings change due to syntactical operators upon them, such as, like he puts here, the proper name, Zaid. Yeah, he put that there to help us out, because what does Zaid mean? What significance does it have? If you don't know the Arabic, you don't even know what is it. But he didn't put anything here. Ha'ula'i, what does that mean? It should say, for the sake of consistency, it should say here, like the pointing noun, ha'ula. That's my translation. If you're going to use standard translation, it's probably going to say, like the demonstrative pronoun, ha'ula. And then he helped us out again. The proper name, hadami. So there's inconsistency there. What do you choose to elaborate on? What do you choose not to elaborate on? While if you just put the Arabic, actually just the Arabic letters, then he doesn't have to rely on any of that. The proper name, hadami and MC, according to the Hijazi dialect, which always end in a kasra. Here, Ibn Hisham said, "Kaha'ula fi luzumil kasr, fi luzumil kasr." You know, when you talk about bina, you don't, you could, but they don't usually, and the author did not say kasra with ta marbuta. They do this to distinguish between i'rab and bina. So for i'rab, they're going to say, for example, وعلامة رفعه ضمة وعلامة نصبه فتحة وعلامة jarrihi kasra with ta marbuta. And for bina, they're going to say mabniyun ala dam, mabniyun ala al-fath, mabniyun ala al-kasr. That's what Ibn Hisham did here, but in the translation, they put the word kasra. Either because they know the difference and it slipped. Whoever wrote this, he knows the difference, it slipped him, so he wrote kasra out of habit, for example. Or because he doesn't know the difference. And so when he saw kasr there, it didn't mean different from kasra for him. There's no difference registering for him. So then he wrote out kasra, maybe because it's more familiar to the people, for example. Or maybe because he just has a habit of writing the word kasra anyway. But still something that can be pointed out. He said, وَكَذَلِكَ حَذَامِ وَأَمْسِ فِي لُغَةِ الْحِجَازِيِّينَ. No, there's a problem here. Look what Ibn Hisham said here. He said, كَهَؤُلَاءِ فِي لُزُومِ الْكَسْرِ وَكَذَلِكَ حَذَامِ وَأَمْسِ فِي لُغَةِ الْحِجَازِيِّينَ. Look at the sequence of his words here. So, like هَؤُلَاء, in adhering to a kasr. So, then he said, and وَكَذَلِكَ, and likewise, حَذَامِ وَأَمْسِ فِي لُغَةِ الْحِجَازِيِّينَ. He put Hadami and MC not absolutely. He put Ha'ula'i without restriction. He put it absolutely. Kaha'ula'i, as if he's saying, across the Arabic dialects, no difference. وَكَذَلِكَ حَذَامِ وَأَمْسِ فِي لُغَةِ الْحِجَازِيِّينَ. And likewise, Mabni ala al-kasr would be Hadami and Amsi, but not absolutely across all Arabic dialects, but in the dialect of the Hijazis. But the way it's translated here, that distinction is lost. He says, like Ha'ula'i, then he said the proper name Hadami and Amsi according to the Hijazi dialect, which always end in a kasra. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good the way he altered the sequence there. Doesn't really give exactly what Ibn Hisham is saying. Not strong here. Yeah. The way this reads is uninflected, mabni, nouns are the opposite. Like ha'ula'i, and, as if the word and is here. Like ha'ula'i, and the proper name hadami, and MC, according to the Hijazi dialect. So here, this according to the Hijazi dialect, because he shifted the position, looks like it's covering everything in front of it. No, actually here, it's not here. Not this one, that's the problem out of order. It's this one, which always end in a kasra. That's the problem. That's what recontextualizes the statement. It needs to be advanced. Should say uninflected are the opposite, like ha'ula'i, which always ends in a kasr. Period. New sentence. And likewise, the proper name Hadami and MC according to the Hijazi dialect. That's what Ibn Hisham said. He says, وَكَأَحَدَ عَشَرَ وَأَخَوَاتِهِ فِي لُزُومِ الْفَتِحِ. أَحَدَ عَشَرَ and its analogs. Nice. What does analog mean? So what they say, it's sisters. Which always end in a fatih. Same thing here. Fatih. Also, what's Ibn Hisham doing here? Ibn Hisham is repeating the tool of comparison. He said here, Kaha'ula'i, وكأحد عشر وكقبل وبعد وكمن وكم. This translator here avoided repeating that um, comparative tool, the tool of comparison. And I feel like that, it has an effect. So Ibn Hisham said, وَكَأَحَدَ عَشَرَ وَأَخَوَاتِهِ. And like أَحَدَ عَشَرَ and its sisters. And he just said, أَحَدَ عَشَرَ and its analogs. So it's going back to this word like here. The implication, well, he has another one here. Like, oh, sorry, not that first one. Sorry. Here, this one. Like, and then he doesn't repeat it. Like ha'ula'i, the proper name hadami and MC, which always end in a kasra. Ahada ashara and its analogs. Ibn Hisham is saying, and like ahada ashara wa akhawatihi and its sisters. He says, and its analogs. I'm not sure the definition of that. If you, I can pull it right now.
No.
Yes.
Analog is referring to in language is referring to, because it has different meanings, but it can refer to a word or a phrase that is similar in meaning or use to another one.
Okay. Yes. That's the meaning. Which always end in a fath. He said fatha. He said qablu, ba'du, and their analogs. Ibn Hisham said, and like qablu and ba'du and their analogs. Fi luzumi dam, which always end in a dhamma. But for me, the best choice to give the translator here for doing this, the best assumption, is that he did it for the sake of the readers to not get confused, because they're not going to know what he means by fath or kasr or dham. So out of concern for them, he knew really what Ibn Hisham is doing there, but he just basically did something to not confuse the readers. إذا حذف المضاف إليه ونوي معناه. Whenever the object ascribed to mudaf ilayhi is omitted while its meaning is intended. Okay. وكمن وكم في لزوم السكون. And men and kem. And this is another reason why actually writing the Arabic words is important. Because that looks like the English word man. So there's potential confusion there. Which always end in sukun, the default ending for uninflected words. وهو أصل البناء. Yes. So that needs a lot of editing, in my opinion, there. What will I give this translator so far, just for that introduction? I think I'll give that introduction, if I'm generous, I'll give him a B-. If I give him how I really feel, I'll give him a C+. Okay. And then he says, وَأَمَّا الْفِعْلُ فَثَلَاثَةُ أَقْسَامٍ. As for the verb, it is of three categories. So he says, as for verbs, they are of three types. Okay. So he translated aqsam as types. Usually, standard is type is going to be translated from the word naw', or jins, type or kind. Usually, people translate qism as division or category, because a qism is a section or a share. Maldin wa yu'rafu bi ta'i ta'nith sakina, past tense verb, and it is known by the vowelless ta of femininity. Vowelless ta of femininity. He says perfect mildly, which is identified by a vowelless feminine ta. So, yani, to translate mildly as perfect, relying on English grammar words, does that even mean past though? Or perfect means the time of the verb is very well determined?
I think they understand from it the complete the
The
it's
completion of the action.
yes.
The completion of the action. Okay. So, well, if that's what they want to say. But mildly means past tense, was done in the past. مضى وانقضى. فعل مضى وانقضى. An act that has passed. So if that's what that means, then so be it. But I feel like it doesn't reflect the Arabic well, though. Because, like Yani has said so many times, in the Arabic, it's just using common words in the place of technical words. And then so those words are going to have significance. And that's why they're going to choose them. That's why some Shafi'is criticize the Hanafis for differentiating between the fard and the wajib in the way that they do. They say, how you made this difference? Did you find it in the language? Or is it something you're just doing? You're picking a word and putting it there? So, al-malbli or malblin, past tense verb, a past tense verb, indefinite there. وَيُعْرَفُ بِتَاءِ التَّأْنِيثِ السَّاكِنَةِ, which is identified by a vowelless feminine ta. Okay. He says, وَبِنَاؤُهُ, he says here, its ending is, so it's not a good translation. Binat doesn't mean ending. Binat means its structure. Its structure, its building. The akhir is the end. It doesn't say here in the Arabic, وَآخِرُهُ عَلَى الْفَتْحِ. Its ending is a fatih. But bina'uhu, it's binat. Yani, the way it's built is, then he put, fatha. على الفتح كضرب. Sorry, كضرب. He said by default, like ضرب. Okay, that's not a bad interjection there by default. Not a bad interjection there, but could, I think, stand to be in the footnote. وبناؤه على الفتح. It is built with a fatih. كضرب, like ضرب. إلا, unless مع واو الجماعة. The plural wow is appended to it. Appended. What was I saying? Suffixed. The plural wow is appended to it.
I think suffix is better in this because appended could mean prefixed or suffixed.
Okay.
I understand it the way I understood it. Appendage could mean either or.
Yes. He said, in which case its ending is a dammah, like darabu. So he said, fayudam, okay, kadarabu. Or, أو الضمير المرفوع المتحرك, or a connected voweled nominative personal pronoun is appended to it. In which case its ending is vowelless, like darabtu. فيسكن كضربت. Okay. So أو الضمير المرفوع المتحرك. So, or a connected, meaning suffixed, voweled nominative pronoun, yes, is appended to it. So if he wanted to, he could have just said, if he wants to use the word appended, he could have said an appended voweled nominative personal pronoun, because connected and appended mean the same thing here. So it doesn't need what's in the brackets there because he has the word appended, but it should be something in brackets because it's not in the Arabic. It's correct, but it's not in the Arabic. يعني أو الضمير المرفوع المتحرك أي الضمير المتصل is the intended meaning here. The suffixed pronoun that's مرفوع and متحرك. In which case its ending is vowelless, like ضربت. Yes. ومنه نعم وبئس وعسى وليس في الأصح. He said perfect verbs include ni'ma, bi'sa, asa, and laysa according to the soundest view. Okay. He said وأمر and imperative. ويعرف بدلالته على الطلب مع قبوله يا المخاطبة, which is identified by imparting the meaning of a call to action. Okay, that's not bad. Imparting the meaning of a call to action, I like that. And its ability to accept the second person feminine ya. Okay, that's correct. If you want to translate mukhataba as second person, that's how you're going to translate it according to standard jargon. Yani, in an attempt to bring out what the Arabic is saying, I try to be more literal there. So I say the addressed female. Mukhataba, the addressed one, the one you're speaking to. Its ability, ma'aqabulihi, yani its ability to accept, that's good. Its ability to accept, that's right. When Ibn Hisham said ma'aqabulihi, ma'na, it means yumkinu an yaqbal, it's possible that it accepts. So that's okay there. The ability to accept ya al-mukhataba, the second person feminine ya. Yeah. Feminine because of the ta marbuta. Second person from the word mukhataba. Its ending is unvoweled by default. وبناؤه على السكون. So I already expressed my concerns there. كضرب, such as idrib, unless إلا المعتل, it ends with a weak letter. Footnote here. Meaning alif, waw, or ya. Okay, that's it. In which case the last letter is truncated. فعلى حذف آخره, truncate.
It literally, I mean, it would mean like it's reduced.
Cut
Or
off.
Right, or in a sense completeness. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's the literal meaning of jazm. Al-jazm is al-qata'. Okay, that's nice. Like ughzu shawarn. So now even more clear. He's using these, not using the Arabic. Then somebody also has to figure out his transliteration system. وَنَحْوُ قُومَا وَقُومُوا وَقُومِي فَعَلَى حَذْفِ النُّونِ. Or it is like kuma, kumu, or kumi, in which case it ends by omitting the terminal noon. There's a footnote here. The general rule being that the ending of an imperative verb is fixed on the same indicator as the jussive mood of the corresponding imperfect verb. Yes, even the word fixed is good. Mabni, fixed. That's better than what he has in the body. He says, Ibn Hisham said, وَمِنْهُ هَلُمَّ فِي لُغَةِ تَمِيمٍ وَهَاتِ وَتَعَالَ فِي الْأَصَّحِ. Imperative verbs include halumma according to the Tamimi dialect, as well as hati and ta'ala according to the soundest view. Now this one's translated fine. The other one, he corrupted something by altering the sequence. Then he says here, Ibn Sham says, وَمُضَارِعٌ وَيُعْرَفُ بِلَمْ. The imperfect mudari', which is identified by lam entering upon it. وَافْتِتَاحُهُ بِحَرْفٍ مِّن نَّائِيت. And it's starting with one of the following letters. No, that's a mistake here. Ibn Hisham is saying, وَمُضَارِعٌ. There's mudari' verb, وَيُعْرَفُ بِلَمْ. It's identified by lam. That part's clear. Correct. Which is identified by lam. There should be a period right here. Period. Remove. Yeah, there's an and. Yeah, there's a wow here. That's true. But that's probably what threw this translator off. Here, capital I, new sentence here. It's starting here. Is. That's what Ibn Hisham's saying. If you want instead of with, you could say by. Its starting is with one of the following letters. Yani its commencement is with or by one of the following letters. How we know that? Because of the dhamma here. وَافْتِتَاحُهُ, that means he reset the sentence. Ibn Hisham reset the sentence. So it doesn't mean, yani, had it been the way the author translated it here, then there would be a kasra here on iftitah. It would have said bilam waftitahihi biharfin min hurufin na'ait. It's identified by lam, and it's identified by it starting with one of the letters of an-8. So when it was that he didn't put it with a kasra so that it's connected by the conjunction, and that instead he gave it a dhamma, then we knew he reset the sentence. And the wow here is what? You call this wow isti'nafiyah. Isti'nafiyah. That means a wow for commencement. So it looks basically starting the sentence with and. Which is valid in English to start a sentence with and, but you just want to be You should be good at writing if you're doing that properly. You should be good at expressing yourself. You should have good command of English if you are, in a good way, starting a sentence with and. وافتتاحه بحرف من نأيت, and its commencement is by one of the letters of the, what was the word you shared with me yesterday? The acrostic mnemonic? Acrostic mnemonic, or is just mnemonic?
Yeah, acrostic mnemonic.
Okay. And its commencement is by one of the letters of the acrostic mnemonic, نأيت. نحو نقوم وأقوم ويقوم وتقوم. He says here, the way he said it is, and it's starting with one of the following letters: Nun, Hamza, Ya, or Ta. So, because he's avoiding any Arabic whatsoever, then he had to compromise Ibn Hisham's sentence. And something that Ibn Hisham put there, he put on purpose there, that na'at. That's for you as a student to memorize it and benefit from it. But because in the translation he's not using any Arabic at all, there wouldn't be a point. Yani, he would have to write out the word na'at, and it won't mean anything. So there was nothing he could do here but completely skip that and just say it in a way that Ibn Hisham didn't really say it. Nun, Hamza, Ya, or Ta, such as Naqumu wa aqumu wa yaqumu wa taqum. ويضم أوله إن كان معضيه رباعيا كيدحرج ويكرم ويفتح في غيره كيضرب ويستخرج. He said the first letter bears a dhamma if the perfect consists of 4 letters, such as yudahriju and yukrim. Otherwise, it bears a fatha like yadribu and yastakhrij. Wallahu a'lam. Let's stop there. And this document here, this translation should still be a rough draft.
Yeah, I agree, mashallah.
Barakallahu feekum.